The small apartment on the seventh floor of an old building lay quiet in the rainy afternoon. Faint light filtered through the misty window, falling across the cluttered desk, piled with sketches, scrap paper, and half-empty coffee cups. Anna Reed sat there, chin resting on her hand, her ocean blue eyes staring absently at the smudged pencil lines on an unfinished design. Her soft blonde hair was loosely tied back, a few strands falling across her face, hiding the gaunt features shaped by weeks of sleepless nights. She was only 28, but exhaustion had aged her beyond her years. Just 2 months ago, she had been working for a young, ambitious interior design company, full of passion and promise. But one poor financial decision had driven the company into bankruptcy, dragging the dreams of dozens of people down with it. For Anna, the collapse felt like a storm that had swept everything away: her job, her confidence, even her meager savings. The apartment she now lived in was the result of desperate scrambling. A cramped, rented room whose monthly rent still weighed heavily on her shoulders. Yet even so, Anna refused to let herself fall apart. She opened her laptop and scrolled through the list of emails she sent daily, countless introductions, portfolios, collaboration proposals. Most had no reply. A few contained polite rejections. Her lips pressed together, her eyes stung, but she drew in a deep breath and reminded herself she had to keep going. Her phone buzzed. A message from Emily Carter, her close friend who worked as a journalist. "Are you going to the design exhibition this week? I heard a lot of major investors will be there." Anna frowned, glancing at her unfinished drawings. She had never been good at socializing or persuading with words. But somewhere inside, a tiny spark flickered. If she didn't try, she would never know if there was still a chance. She stood up and walked to the mirror. Reflected back was a thin young woman with tired eyes, but a steady, determined gaze. Anna smoothed her hair, forcing a small smile. "I can't stop here," she whispered. Outside, the gray sky poured with rain, but inside Anna's heart, a new determination had begun to kindle. At the end of the day, as she gathered her papers to prepare for the exhibition, Anna happened to hear a name mentioned in a financial news report. Crackling from her old radio, Christopher Langley, 35-year-old investor, and one of New York's most powerful young billionaires, will be attending the annual design exhibition in Manhattan. Anna froze. She had heard that name many times, tied to the kind of successful deals that made entrepreneurs admire him. People said Christopher Langley was cold, distant, even ruthless in business. Yet, he was also known for putting his faith in the boldest ideas. Anna's fingers tightened around the invitation ticket. A rush of nerves, tinged with hope, rose in her chest. Could someone like her, a failure, possibly make any impression on a man like him? She didn't know. But for the first time in months, Anna truly wanted to try. The annual design exhibition in Manhattan buzzed like a festival of lights. Booths shimmered under hundreds of lamps, while the scents of fresh wood leather and glossy paint mingled in the air. Young designers showcased their work with the hope of finding someone who believed in them, someone willing to lend a helping hand. Anna Reed stood in the corner of her booth, hands clasped tightly in front of her to hide their trembling. The pale blue dress she had chosen that morning did little to conceal her exhaustion, but her clear blue eyes gleamed with determination. On the display table lay sustainable interior models of her own design, simple yet refined, focused on repurposing recycled materials. A murmur rippled through the hall, Someone had just arrived, and Anna instantly sensed the shift in atmosphere. The 35-year-old man stood out, not only because of his height, over 6 feet, but because of the commanding presence that made heads turn. His dark brown hair was neatly cut. His gray-blue eyes swept coolly across each booth. A perfectly tailored black suit emphasized his strong build. He walked slowly, each step deliberate, trailed by an assistant and a few journalists scribbling rapidly in their notebooks. Anna swallowed hard. Her heart pounded so loudly, she feared others could hear it. She had rehearsed hundreds of times in her head, yet now, as that figure drew closer, every word seemed to vanish. Christopher stopped in front of her booth. For several seconds, he said nothing, only bent to examine the drawings and models with an unreadable expression. The light reflecting in those gray-blue eyes made Anna feel as if she were being laid bare. "This idea is yours." His voice was deep, clear, and utterly devoid of emotion. Anna drew in a breath, steadying her tone. "Yes, I focus on repurposing discarded materials, redesigning them into sustainable interior products suited for modern urban spaces." Christopher gave a slight nod, his gaze still fixed on the models. "Production costs about 20% lower than using new materials. However, additional funding is required to expand the production line and prove its commercial viability." He remained silent, his brows faintly furrowed. The entire booth seemed to hang in that tense pause. Sweat dampened Anna's palms, yet she did not retreat. Finally, Christopher raised his head and looked directly into her eyes. "Not a bad idea, but this market is brutally competitive. Have you considered the risks?" Anna faltered for a moment. Every prepared response she had vanished. Fear of failure surged back, dragging with it the memories of her old company. But with a tremendous effort, she clenched her fists and replied, "I know the risks are high, but if we don't try, we'll never know if we can change the way people perceive sustainable design. I'm ready to take responsibility for this idea." A strange flicker passed through Christopher's eyes. He said nothing more, only nodded, and drew a silver business card from his pocket. "See me next week, Langley Tower, 10 a.m. With that, he walked away, leaving Anna frozen, the business card lying in her hand like a piece of gold. She watched his figure disappear into the crowd. The same straight, confident stride, the same cold expression. But in her eyes, now, there was not just fear, but a fragile spark of hope. In her mind, only one thought echoed: "This is my chance." Langley Tower rose tall and imposing in the heart of Manhattan, its glass facade reflecting the clear blue sky. Anna stood at the base of the building, tilting her head back and suddenly feeling impossibly small. The morning breeze slipped through her soft blonde hair, and she instinctively tightened her grip on the folder in her hands. "Calm down, Anna," she whispered to herself. "This is just a business meeting." But she knew better. This was more than a meeting. It had the power to change her life. Behind the gleaming glass walls, the vast lobby opened up in overwhelming grandeur. Polished marble floors, an impeccably arranged reception desk, and men and women in tailored suits, moving with quick precision. Anna stepped forward, and the receptionist's voice was gentle, yet professional. "Good morning, Ms. Reed. Mr. Langley is expecting you on the 52nd floor." Anna nodded, her heart racing. The elevator lifted her higher and higher, each number flashing on the panel like a drumbeat pounding inside her chest. When the doors opened, an entirely different world revealed itself. The 52nd floor, Christopher Langley's private office, was quiet, elegant, and cold as a fortress. Walls of glass stretched wide, offering a sweeping view of the city below. At the center stood a large walnut desk, meticulously organized with neatly stacked documents. Christopher sat behind it, dressed in a white shirt and a charcoal gray suit, a report in hand. When Anna entered, he looked up, his gray, blue eyes sharp as ice, yet touched with a flicker of curiosity. Right on time, he gave a slight nod and gestured toward the chair across from him. Anna set her folder on the desk, forcing herself to remain composed. "Thank you for taking the time to meet with me." Christopher didn't answer immediately. His gaze swept over her briefly before he spoke. "I want to hear your pitch, but this time spare me the flowery introductions. I want numbers, strategy, and the reason I should invest in you." His tone carried the weight of command. Anna drew a long breath, opening her designs and spreadsheets. She presented in detail material costs, production processes, potential for market expansion. At first, her voice wavered, but the more she spoke, the steadier she became. This was her field, her work, her conviction. Christopher listened occasionally, cutting in with sharp, pointed questions. Timeline for returns. Direct competitors. What differentiates your marketing strategy? Each question sliced into her plan like a blade. Sweat dampened her skin, but she didn't falter. She answered with clarity, and at moments even dared to meet his eyes. After nearly 40 minutes, silence settled over the room. Christopher closed the folder and set it neatly on the desk. "You have passion," he said slowly. "But passion alone doesn't win the market." Anna's chest tightened. Was this his rejection? Then he added, "Still, I admire your persistence. I'll give you a chance. An initial investment. If you can prove within 6 months that this idea can generate profit, we'll talk further." Anna froze, her eyes widening. You mean it?" The corner of Christopher's mouth lifted, not quite a smile, but something close, a flicker of recognition. "I don't make jokes about money." Anna clenched her fists, her heart swelling with emotion. This was what she had dreamed of, not just the funding, but the opportunity to prove herself. As she left the office, sunlight streamed through the glass walls, lighting up her face. Inside, Christopher watched her small figure disappear down the hall. In his eyes lingered something unfamiliar, not merely curiosity about an idea, but a faint stirring, a quiet intrigue born from the courage of a young woman who refused to back down. The capital Christopher provided was small compared to his vast fortune, but for Anna, it was a doorway to hope. She quickly rented a modest workshop in Brooklyn, its window frames chipped with peeling paint, the cement floor coated in dust. On the first day, as she stepped inside, Anna looked around with a mix of excitement and anxiety. The machines were lacking the team, not yet assembled, only her and a few former colleagues from her old design company. They were willing to help, not for money, but because they believed in her. "Let's start here," Anna said, with a determined smile. The work was anything but easy. Recycled materials had to be collected, sorted, then painstakingly processed before they could be turned into products. Many nights, Anna and her team worked until dawn, their hands grimy with sawdust, their eyes darkened by exhaustion. At times, the numbers on the expense sheets left her dizzy. Rising transport costs, canceled supply contracts at the last minute, and hesitant potential clients unwilling to sign. In those hardest moments, Anna reminded herself, "I can't give up. This isn't just a job, It's a promise I made to myself and to Christopher Langley. Christopher, though overwhelmed with countless responsibilities, kept a close eye on her progress. He didn't interfere directly, but often received updates from his assistant. Every time he saw the deficit in the reports, his brows furrowed. But when he looked at the images of Anna in the workshop, her tired yet burning eyes, her small frame working among heaps of raw materials, he stayed silent, refraining from issuing harsh orders. One afternoon, Christopher appeared at the workshop unexpectedly. The whir of saws, the pounding of hammers, the mingled scent of wood and paint filled the air. Everyone froze for a moment as the billionaire entered sharply, dressed in his tailored suit. Anna, pencil in hand as she sketched markings onto a wooden board, turned to see him. Surprise flickered across her face, followed by a trace of unease. "Mr. Langley, I didn't think you'd come here in person." Christopher scanned the messy surroundings, his brow tightening slightly. "I wanted to see where my money is being used." The words were cool, but not unkind. Anna pressed her lips together and replied firmly, "Then welcome to reality. It's not glamorous, but it's where dreams begin." A moment of silence passed. Then unexpectedly, the corner of Christopher's mouth curved into a rare smile. He walked over to inspect a nearly finished product, a wooden chair crafted from old pallets, carefully treated, its smooth surface and minimalist design carrying a quiet elegance. "Not bad," he nodded in approval. "If I didn't know better, I'd think this came from a high-end furniture brand." Anna looked at him, her heart stirring at the recognition in his words. All the fatigue that had weighed on her seemed to lift, replaced by the certainty that she was on the right path. Christopher turned toward her, his expression still stern, but no longer entirely cold. "Keep going. But remember, 6 months isn't long. The market won't wait for you." He left, and the workshop was once again filled with the rhythm of labor. Anna stood still for a moment, her hand brushing lightly over the chair he had praised. Deep inside, she felt it clearly. This was more than just a business project. It was a journey to prove herself, and perhaps the beginning of an invisible bond growing between her and Christopher. After 3 months of relentless work, Anna and her team finally completed their first batch of products, simple yet elegant tables and chairs, crafted from recycled wood, meticulously polished. Each piece bore its own unique mark. No two were exactly alike, a detail Anna believed would make all the difference. For the product launch, Anna chose a small corner in a Soho furniture store. Unable to afford a luxurious gallery, she settled for a modest space, arranging her pieces with care. She hung a wooden sign engraved with the words "Reed Designs," from waste to wonder. As the first guests arrived, Anna's heart pounded like a drum. Most were mid-range potential customers, young couples, a few small cafe owners, and individuals passionate about sustainable living. Anna smiled, greeting each visitor and sharing the story behind every product. At first, some glanced over, skeptically, raising an eyebrow. But when they sat on the sturdy chairs or ran their hands along the smooth tabletops, lively conversations began to spark. "I didn't expect recycled wood to look this good. It feels sturdier than I imagined. Simple design, yet it has a warm touch." Anna listened to every comment, a mix of anxiety and hope swelling within her. By the end of the event, she had sold more than half of her inventory, a result beyond her expectations. A radiant smile spread across her tired face, her eyes gleaming with renewed confidence. Amid the crowd, she suddenly caught a familiar gaze. Christopher Langley stood unobtrusively at the back, not making a scene. Dressed in a minimalist suit, arms crossed his sharp gray-blue eyes, carefully observing every reaction from the customers. Anna paused briefly, but quickly regained her composure. As the event drew to a close, she approached him. "You came without warning." Christopher shrugged. "I wanted to see the customers' true reactions, not a performance just for me." Anna smiled, though her heart still raced. "So, what do you think?" He glanced at the remaining products. "Customers aren't buying just because of the price. They're buying because of the story you've woven into each piece. The way you believe in them makes others believe too." His words surprised Anna. Not numbers, not strategy, faith. She nodded subtly, a strange warmth rising within her, as if she had been recognized, not just as a designer, but as a person. Before leaving, Christopher paused, his gaze softening slightly. "Don't let today's success make you complacent. This is only the beginning. The market out there is far harsher." Anna watched his figure fade into the distance, her hand unconsciously clutching her notebook. She knew he was right, but for the first time after months of uncertainty, she truly felt she had a chance. The warm lights of the store reflected off the rough wooden sign. Beneath the words, "From Waste to Wonder," Anna smiled. This is just the beginning. After the successful product launch, Reed Designs began to appear in a few small magazines covering green lifestyles. Some cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan placed trial orders for Anna's recycled wood tables and chairs. Every time she saw her creations displayed in public, Anna felt as if her dream was slowly taking shape. But the joy was short-lived. A major furniture corporation, Harper & Co., suddenly announced their eco-line featuring products also made from recycled wood. With their vast resources, they launched massive media campaigns, completely overshadowing Anna's small-scale efforts. News spread quickly. Some of Reed Designs' potential customers hesitated, even canceling orders, to see what the giant would officially release. Anna sat stunned in the workshop, holding a newspaper with trembling hands. They've taken all our ideas." Her team looked worried as well. "How can we possibly compete? They have capital machines and a nationwide distribution network." Anna remained silent, her heart heavy. All those days and nights of hard work seemed on the verge of disappearing. That day, Christopher appeared at the workshop as if he had anticipated the situation. He listened to Anna recount the events without interruption, quietly observing her anxious expression. Finally, he spoke. "Harper & Co. can copy the products, but they can't copy your identity. The issue isn't what they do, it's how you choose to respond." Anna looked up, her blue eyes glistening with a hint of confusion. "But we're too small. They'll crush us like dust." Christopher crossed his arms, his gaze sharp. "Do you want to give up? If your answer is yes, then I'll consider my investment merely an expensive lesson. But if you want to fight, I'll give you the tools." Anna's heart tightened. Give up? No. Everything she had, her skills, her belief, was invested in Reed Designs. I won't give up," she said, her voice trembling, yet resolute. Christopher nodded. "Good. Then we need a strategy." He handed her a folder, a list of independent journalists, media channels focused on sustainable living, and several young entrepreneurs he trusted could become partners. Don't chase Harper & Co. Tell your own story. People aren't just buying a chair, they're buying faith in the person who made it. That's something the big corporations will never have. Anna looked at the folder, her hands shaking slightly. In that moment, she realized Christopher was more than an investor. He was becoming a companion, a support she had never dared to hope for. That evening, sitting alone in the quiet workshop, Anna opened her old sketchbook. On a page, smudged with graphite, she wrote, "I will not let them take this dream away. This isn't just a job. It's part of who I am." Outside the window, the city lights twinkled. Somewhere in a high-rise building, Christopher was looking at Anna's folder, the corner of his mouth curling into a faint smile. In those gray-blue eyes, for the first time, there was something beyond business interest, a quiet faith in the young woman before him. A week after the Harper & Company shock, Anna decided to strike back in her own way. Unable to compete with money or flashy advertising, she chose to tell a genuine story, the journey of transforming discarded wood into products with soul. Christopher arranged a meeting for her with Maya Collins, a young reporter from Green Living magazine, known for her insightful articles on sustainable living. In a small cafe, Anna fidgeted as the recorder was switched on. Her voice trembled slightly, but she told her story from the days she lost everything after her old company went bankrupt to sleepless nights in the dusty little workshop, and her dream of from waste to wonder. Maya listened intently. When the article was published, the headline on the cover boldly read, "Anna Reed, the girl who turned scraps into dreams." The article spread quickly within the sustainability community. Many shared it on social media, calling Anna the new voice of green design. Small orders began coming in again, this time not just for the products, but for the story behind them. Anna felt deeply moved reading each supportive comment. But what surprised her most was seeing Christopher quietly appear at the workshop late that evening, holding a neatly folded copy of the magazine. "You did it," he said, placing the article on the desk. "This is something Harper & Company will never have authenticity." Anna smiled softly, tired yet radiant. "If it weren't for you giving me the chance, I wouldn't have made it here." Christopher was silent for a moment, his gaze softening. "Don't forget, the one who did all the work is still you." In that moment, the workshop seemed to hush. Amid the dim, golden light illuminating Anna's paint-streaked face, her bright blue eyes shone with determination. Christopher looked at her longer than he had intended. Within him stirred a strange feeling, admiration mixed with something hard to put into words. Just then, Anna's phone buzzed. A message from a major client, a chain of cafes, was considering partnering with Reed Designs for their entire system. Anna reread it in disbelief, her heart racing. "Christopher, they want to meet me to discuss the contract." He raised an eyebrow, the corner of his mouth curving into a rare smile. "See, when people believe in you, doors open." Overcome with emotion, Anna's eyes welled up. She turned slightly, afraid he might see her vulnerability. But Christopher noticed. For a fleeting moment, he wanted to reach out and place a hand on her shoulder, a simple gesture of comfort. Yet he restrained himself. Instead, he spoke firmly. "Get ready. This is only the beginning." Anna nodded, a smile mixed with tears. For the first time, she felt she didn't just have an investor. She had a true companion, someone who believed in her, even when she herself had doubts. On Monday morning, Anna stepped out of the car, clutching her design portfolio tightly. The pale blue dress she had chosen the night before fluttered in the crisp morning breeze. But her eyes shone with determination. The glass building before her, the headquarters of Brew and Bloom, a nationally renowned cafe chain, loomed majestically. This was an opportunity that could elevate Reed Designs to a new level, or it could shatter the trust she had painstakingly rebuilt. Christopher walked beside her, impeccably dressed in a gray suit, his demeanor calm and composed. Noticing Anna swallow nervously, he tilted his head slightly and said, "Don't forget, they invited you because they believe in your idea. I'm just standing behind you. This is your stage." His words felt like a shot of courage straight to her heart. The conference room was bathed in sunlight, streaming through the glass walls. The Brew and Bloom executive team sat waiting. At the center was Eleanor Hayes, Director of Brand Development, a woman in her 40s, known for her strict standards yet far-reaching vision. Anna presented her design, a coffee counter, made from recycled wood chairs, upholstered in organic fabric, and carefully chosen lighting to create a cozy atmosphere while saving energy. On the screen, the images appeared simple yet captivating. Speaking with all her conviction, she said, "It's not just interior design, it's a message. Every cup of coffee will taste better when enjoyed in a space that respects nature. Brew and Bloom's customers won't just drink coffee, they'll feel part of something bigger." Throughout the presentation, Christopher stood quietly at the back, his gaze following her. He didn't intervene or shield her, allowing her to shine on her own. Yet the hand, casually tucked in his pocket, was clenched tightly, as if he were attuned to every beat of her heart. When Anna finished, the room fell silent for a few seconds. Eleanor Hayes leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand, her expression unreadable. Then she spoke. "Ms. Reed, the concept is very compelling. But Brew and Bloom doesn't just need beautiful design. We need long-term, sustainable solutions. Can you demonstrate that the costs won't exceed our budget?" Anna hesitated for a moment. This was the part she feared most: numbers. But instead of looking to Christopher for reassurance, she took a deep breath and opened her detailed spreadsheet. Her voice trembled slightly, but remained steady. "I've calculated it. Using recycled wood reduces costs by 35% compared to new wood. Organic fabric is sourced directly from local suppliers, cutting transportation costs. Energy-efficient lighting reduces the annual electricity bill by 20%. While initial investment is required, costs will be recouped within 2 years, after which everything becomes profit." Eleanor nodded quietly. Another executive whispered to a colleague. The tension in the room softened. At the end of the meeting, Eleanor stood and extended her hand. "Ms. Reed, I admire your ability to see beyond mere aesthetics. Brew and Bloom is ready to pilot this project in 3 branches. If successful, we'll expand it system-wide." Anna was stunned. For a moment, all the sounds around her seemed to fade away. She grasped Eleanor's hand, her voice choked with emotion. "Thank you. I won't let you down." As she left the building, Anna couldn't help but laugh, a mix of nervousness and joy. She turned to Christopher. They agreed. They really agreed. Christopher looked at her, the gray blue of his eyes reflecting a rare, subtle joy. He said nothing, only offering a soft, rare smile, making Anna realize that the usually stern man seemed in that moment to be sharing not just the success with her, but a quiet, warm secret between 2 hearts. Anna Reed had never been this busy. After signing the contract with Brew and Bloom, her small workshop practically ran around the clock. Recycled wood was delivered continuously. Craftsmen worked under late-night lights, and Anna barely left her designs. The 3 pilot branches were located in 3 different cities. That meant constant travel supervision and adjustments. For a small team like Reed Designs, it was no small challenge. Christopher Langley, as promised, remained in the background. He didn't interfere with the design work directly, but provided logistical support, ensuring materials arrived on time, organizing auxiliary staff, and even handling minor contracts that Anna hadn't noticed. Yet the first real challenge arrived quickly. At the Seattle branch, during the bar installation, a batch of recycled wood was found to have internal cracks. If used, the bar could not withstand the weight of the industrial espresso machines. The branch manager looked displeased, and the construction team began muttering that green design was nothing but trouble. Anna felt her blood rush to her face. She was worried, her heart pounding. This was what she feared: a single, small mistake could make everyone lose faith in her. Meanwhile, Christopher remained calm. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only Anna could hear. "This is when you need to show them you're in control, Anna. No one else can do it." She took a deep breath and turned to face the waiting group. "We cannot use this batch of wood," she said firmly. "I take full responsibility. Tonight, I will arrange a new shipment from a different supplier. To avoid delays, we will adjust the construction order, start with the lighting system and chairs. I'll stay here with everyone until it's finished." The team was silent for a few seconds. Then someone nodded. Clearly, Anna's decisiveness reassured them. That night, after the craftsman had gone home, Anna sat alone in the temporary workshop, her head bowed over the drawings. Her eyes stung, smearing the ink and pencil marks. Christopher entered, carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee. He placed one in front of her and said softly, "You just saved the whole project from disaster. Not bad for a rookie designer like you once claimed." Anna looked up, exhausted, but smiling. "I'm just trying not to ruin everything." Christopher sat opposite her, his gray-blue eyes softening. "Failure isn't about making mistakes, Anna. Failure is quitting because of fear. And I don't think you're that type of person." His words were like a soothing balm. Anna was silent for a moment, then whispered, "Thank you for believing in me. Even when I wasn't sure, I believed in myself." For a fleeting moment, their eyes met. Amid the scent of wood paint and hot coffee, something warm spread, not from work, but from 2 hearts finding each other. Christopher turned slightly, as if afraid his gaze revealed too much. "Tomorrow will be better. You need a little rest." Anna nodded, but her heart continued to race, hard to calm. Despite the challenges, the following days went more smoothly. The first branch was completed, delighting customers. Local media quickly reported, "Brew and Bloom unveils new space, eco-friendly, cozy in every corner." Anna looked at the photos in the newspaper, unable to hold back tears. She knew these were only the first bricks, but they were the foundation for a dream. And beside that dream, there was always the presence of the man named Christopher Langley, quietly walking alongside her. Anna Reed had never felt so blindsided. After the success of her first Brew and Bloom branch, news of her eco-friendly designs had spread like wildfire. Images of customers sipping coffee in warm spaces, seated on recycled wood furniture, bathed in soft golden light, circulated widely across social media. Reed Designs was slowly becoming a name in the green design community. Anna could feel trust returning. Each morning, her inbox overflowed with small collaboration requests from bakeries, galleries, to schools. But the joy was short-lived. One afternoon, while Anna was in the workshop reviewing designs, her assistant Maya ran in, pale hands trembling, as she held up a phone. "Anna, you have to see this." On the screen was a headline that made Anna freeze: "Green design or deception? Reed Designs suspected of using substandard materials." The article spread rapidly. The author cited anonymous sources, claiming that the recycled wood Anna used was of poor quality, prone to damage, and not environmentally friendly as advertised. Accompanying the text were photos of cracked wood, the very batch from Seattle that Anna had rejected. Anna went numb. Her hands dropped to her sides, her heart aching. Within hours, angry comments poured in. Thought it was green, design turns out it's just a gimmick. Deceiving consumers with a sustainable label. No different from the big corporations she criticized. Her phone rang incessantly. Bruin Bloom demanded an urgent explanation. That night, Anna sat despondent in her small office. The world seemed to have turned its back on her. All her efforts, all the trust she had built, suddenly felt shattered. The door opened and Christopher stepped in. Today, he wasn't the calm figure she was used to. There was a seriousness in him, the weight of someone who had faced storms before. Harper & Kobe is behind this, he said bluntly. They hired people to dig into the Seattle project and blew it out of proportion. This isn't the truth, Anna. But they know your weakest point, trust. Anna's voice trembled. Christopher, what if the clients don't believe me? What if everyone thinks I'm a fraud? Then it's all over. Christopher stepped closer, placing both hands on the table, leaning in to meet her gaze. Listen to me. Business isn't always fair. What matters is how you respond. If you hide, they win. But if you stand up, speak the truth, and prove it through action, no lie can take you down. Anna shook, but in his eyes, she found a steadfast anchor. The next morning, Anna decided to do what few dared, hold a small press conference right in her workshop. In a simple white shirt in front of cameras, she did not shy away. There were batches of recycled wood that didn't meet standards. She said, her voice firm, though her heart pounded. We removed them as soon as we discovered the issue. No products using defective materials were ever delivered to customers. Reed Designs exists because of trust, and I welcome anyone to visit our workshop and see how we operate. Her words were plain, unembellished, but radiated sincerity. Behind her, Christopher quietly stood in the back row. He didn't speak, but the presence of the famously selective and stern billionaire sent a clear message: Anna was not alone. Immediately after the press event, media coverage began to shift. Some outlets praised Anna for her transparency and courage in facing a crisis. Bruin Bloom, after sending a team to inspect, also issued a statement. We continue our collaboration with Reed Designs. Anna exhaled, eyes glistening. The storm wasn't fully over, but at least she had stood firm through her career's first real trial. As evening fell, Christopher came beside her, voice warm and steady. Today, you proved one thing: no one can take your integrity away, Anna. She looked up, smiling through tears. If it weren't for you, I might have given up. Christopher paused for a moment. In his eyes shimmered something deeper than protection, a feeling that was beginning to surpass business. Yet he only said softly, there are more battles ahead. But now, you won't have to fight them alone. Anna remained silent, but her heart responded with a steady, trusting beat. A month after the media crisis, Anna Reed received an unexpected invitation to attend the International Green Design Conference in New York, a gathering of top entrepreneurs, designers, and investors from around the world. For Anna, it was a priceless opportunity to bring Reed Designs into the global spotlight. But it was also a daunting challenge, stepping into a place where every gaze dissected her. Every word would be analyzed. Christopher Langley, the event's major sponsor, of course would be there. When he learned that Anna had been invited to speak in a panel discussion, he only smiled. This is when the world gets to know you, Anna. Show them what I saw from the very beginning." That evening, the conference hall gleamed under crystal chandeliers. Evening gowns, expensive suits, glasses of wine, catching the warm golden light, all created an atmosphere both dazzling and intimidating. Anna wore a sleek beige dress, simple yet refined. Her heart raced as she stepped onto the red carpet, flashes of cameras lighting up the path. When Christopher gently offered his arm to guide her into the hall, Anna realized that his presence made her feel more at ease than ever. Inside the auditorium, Anna sat at a table alongside names she had previously only known from the media. Across from her, she unexpectedly met the cold gaze of Richard Harper, the director of Harper & Co. He raised his glass, smiling challengingly. Anna's hands trembled slightly, but she pressed her lips together, aware that she was no longer the fragile girl ready to give up. When it was her turn to speak, Anna stepped up to the podium, facing hundreds of eyes. Her voice rang out, not flawless, but sincere. "We live in a world where beauty alone is no longer enough. Design, if divorced from responsibility, is merely a superficial shell. I believe sustainability begins with the small choices we make, from selecting a piece of wood to choosing a chair, to recognizing the value of nature itself. Reed Designs exists for that very reason." The room fell silent for a few seconds, then erupted into applause. Some journalists even stood to take photos and take notes. Anna bowed slightly, heart pounding, yet smiling a smile of someone who had just crossed a threshold. From below, Christopher watched. In his eyes, quiet pride shone through, mingled with a deeper emotion he tried to conceal. After her speech, many approached to congratulate her. A Japanese entrepreneur expressed interest in collaboration. A French journalist requested an exclusive interview. Anna felt as if she were dreaming, but that joy was soon tested. As she stepped into a small garden to breathe, Richard Harper appeared. He smirked slightly. "Impressive, Ms. Reed. But do you really think you can survive in this world, alone, against corporations like ours?" Anna paused. In the past, she might have stayed silent, but this time she looked straight at him. "I am not opposing anyone, Mr. Harper. I am simply doing what I believe is right. And it seems more and more people are believing in that too." Harper's brow furrowed, ready to retort, but Christopher's voice rang out from behind Richard. "Perhaps you should find a different opponent. Anna is no easy prey." The two men's eyes met, tension sharp as swords. Harper let out a cold hum and walked away. Anna turned to Christopher, heart racing. "You heard everything." Christopher looked at her, the corners of his lips curving slightly. "You didn't need me to step in. Your answer was strong enough." In that moment, Anna felt a warm, indescribable feeling rise within her. In the soft light of the garden, the distance between them seemed to shrink. But before any words could be spoken, fireworks exploded in celebration, shattering the quiet atmosphere. They both looked up at the sky, but each knew in their hearts that something had already changed between them. After the New York conference, the name Reed Designs began appearing frequently in industry publications. Anna Reed, once a little-known young designer, had now become the rising star of sustainable design. Emails flooded in an eco-hotel in Switzerland wanted to collaborate. A university in Canada invited her to lecture, and a corporation in Singapore proposed a contract to design green workspaces. Anna felt both overwhelmed and anxious. These opportunities far exceeded her original dreams. Yet, they also placed enormous pressure on her shoulders. In the workshop, the craftsmen were excited, but some began to voice concerns. If we expand internationally, will we still keep the original, raw essence, will Ms. Reed still pay attention to the smaller projects like she used to? These whispers weighed heavily on Anna. She feared that the new path might pull her away from her original ideals, turning Reed Designs into more of a commercial brand than a human-centered dream. Christopher Langley, of course, was always observing. One evening, as Anna sat in front of a map dotted with international collaboration opportunities, he approached, pouring her a glass of red wine. "What's troubling you, Anna?" he asked, his voice low but gentle. She looked up, eyes tired. "I'm afraid the bigger we get, the more I'll lose what we started with. I only wanted to create warm spaces from materials others considered waste. But now, people talk about reputation, money, global scale. I don't know if I'll still be myself." Christopher sat across from her, his deep, gray, blue eyes steady. "Anna, the essence of a dream isn't in its scale, but in the heart of the one pursuing it. You proved that when all you had was a small workshop and a few old pieces of wood, whether in New York, Switzerland, or anywhere else, if you keep your faith, Reed Designs will always be Anna Reed." She fell silent, then let out a small, bittersweet smile. "You always know how to steady me, Christopher." In that moment, there was silence between them. No longer investor and designer, just two people sitting face to face, sharing worries and trust. Yet outside, not everyone celebrated Anna's success. Some former colleagues mocked her on social media. "She's lucky to meet the right wealthy investor. Let's see how far she could go on her own." From a failed girl to a star, it all sounds a bit too perfect to believe. Anna read each comment, her heart tightening. But this time, instead of panicking, she just sighed. "Maybe they're partly right," she said to Christopher. "Without you, I wouldn't have come this far." Christopher was quiet for a moment, then replied softly, "Anna, I can give many people opportunities, but not everyone turns them into value. You did that." Their eyes met. In that instant, Anna realized there was something beyond gratitude, beyond a professional relationship. Her heart raced, wanting to say what her lips could not. Christopher felt the same. He wanted to reach out and hold her small hand. Yet he only gripped his wine glass, restraining his emotions. Outside, the world was opening new doors. But in Anna and Christopher's hearts, another door was slowly opening too. The door of love, fragile yet intense, illuminated amidst the stormy world of business. On an autumn morning in Manhattan, Anna stepped into the workshop to find everyone gathered around a phone, whispering anxiously. The atmosphere was unusually heavy. "Ms. Reed, have you seen the news?" a timid employee asked. Anna frowned. She unlocked her phone and immediately felt stunned. Headlines flashed across the screen. Young design star riding on Billionaire, Christopher Langley's coattails. Anna Reed, talent or a socialite's pet project. Reed Designs' success, tainted by a questionable relationship. Accompanying the articles were candid photos. Anna and Christopher leaving a hotel after the conference, him shielding her from the rain, and the exchange of glances at the gala. Anna froze. Her throat tightened, a mix of anger and humiliation boiling inside. "I can't believe this," she muttered. That afternoon, Christopher arrived at the workshop. He already knew about the rumors. His gaze was stern, yet his voice remained steady. "Anna, I'm sorry. This is clearly a scheme by Harper & Co. They're trying to ruin your reputation by sowing doubt." Anna looked up, tears welling in her eyes. "But what if the world believes them Everything I've worked for will turn into a joke. People will think I'm just a girl climbing the ladder because of you." Christopher stepped closer, placing his hands on the table, his tone firm. "You don't owe anyone an explanation, but yourself. Your talent is real, and I won't let anyone deny that." Still, Anna trembled. Deep down, she knew the photos weren't false. They did reflect the closeness between them, something she had never dared to name. The next day, the storm widened. Some partners hesitated, and certain clients sent emails postponing negotiations. The media pressed relentlessly, reporters swarming outside the workshop, shouting, "Anna Reed, what do you have to say about your relationship with Christopher Langley? Is Reed Designs just a front for a secret romance?" Anna tried to avoid them, her heart racing. Each step felt like the camera flashes were peeling away every layer of her facade. That evening, she received a message from an unknown number. "If you want your career to continue publicly, deny any personal relationship with Langley. We'll handle the rumors for you." Anna's hands shook, her heart freezing. Harper and Kodu hadn't just spread the story, they were demanding she betray the one who had supported her. She sat motionless in front of her phone, tears streaming. She knew any choice now would change everything: her career, her honor, and her heart. In a high-rise penthouse, Christopher stood by the window, city lights reflecting across his troubled face. He understood it was time to confront not just Harper and Koning, but the feelings he had long tried to conceal. That night, Anna called him. Her voice trembled, yet carried determination. "We have to make a choice, Christopher. Not just for the project, but for ourselves." On the other end, he was silent for a moment. Then his deep voice echoed, weighted like a vow. "All right, then let's face everything together." On Monday morning, the press office of Langley Group was packed. Reporters jostled for position, cameras flashed nonstop, and everyone waited for the appearance of the two names stirring the media frenzy: Christopher Langley and Anna Reed. Anna stood behind the curtains, hands clenched so tightly they turned white. Her heart had never raced this fast. "Are you sure?" she whispered, worry in her eyes as she looked at Christopher. Dressed in a dark blue suit, Christopher's face was calm, yet his gaze was resolute. He tilted his head gently, took her hand, and squeezed it. "Sure, this isn't just your battle anymore, Anna. We face it together." In that moment, Anna felt strength coursing through her body. The doors opened. They stepped out. The room erupted in flashes, and shouting a storm of cameras, calls, and questions. Christopher raised his hand, his voice calm but commanding. "Please, remain calm. We have a few clarifications to make." The billionaire, known for his cold demeanor in business, now stood before hundreds of reporters, speaking slowly and deliberately. "There are rumors suggesting that the success of Reed Designs is solely due to my personal relationship with Ms. Anna Reed. I want to make it clear, this is an insult to her talent and tireless efforts." He paused and looked at Anna. In his eyes, she saw unwavering trust. "Yes, I invested in this project." But that decision was driven by the power of a bold idea from a designer with heart and vision. No amount of capital can buy the creativity and determination she has demonstrated. The reporters murmured. One shouted, "And what about your relationship with Ms. Reed? Do you deny the romantic rumors?" The room held its breath. Anna glanced at Christopher, her heart pounding. This was the decisive moment. Christopher stared straight into the camera, unflinching. "I will not deny it. I hold respect, admiration, and more for Anna. That feeling was not the reason for her success, but I am not ashamed to acknowledge it. A wave of astonishment swept through the room. Cameras clicked relentlessly. Anna was stunned. He had spoken words she never dared imagine he would say publicly. All eyes turned to her. Anna inhaled deeply and stepped up to the microphone. Her voice trembled at first, but grew steady. I am Anna Reed. I have failed. I have lost everything. But I stood up and started again, with old scraps of wood, with a dream to create sustainable spaces. Christopher Langley believed in that dream, giving me the chance to prove myself. If that makes anyone think I relied on him, I accept it. But remember, no one can live another person's dream for them. She lifted her chin, her gaze firm. And yes, I value Christopher, not just as an investor, but as someone who stood by me during my toughest times. If there is any feeling between us, it is something I do not regret. The room erupted in applause, mixed with chatter. But Anna knew that from this moment, she would no longer hide. Stepping out of the press room, she exhaled, her back damp with sweat. Christopher walked beside her, gently squeezing her hand, as if to say, "You did wonderfully." She looked at him, her eyes filled with gratitude and something warmer, gentler than ever before. In Anna's heart, one truth resonated clearly. No matter the storms ahead, she was no longer alone. News of the previous day's press conference flooded every media outlet. Some praised Anna and Christopher for their courage and sincerity, but many others exploited the powerful romance angle to attract readers. Anna thought the storm had calmed, but just a few days later, Harper & Company struck again. They released an investigative report claiming that Reed Designs had violated its sustainability commitments using uncertified wood and allegedly being involved in illegal supply chains. Headlines screamed Reed Designs' green image, just a facade. Anna Reed, talent or hypocrite. In the office, Anna slammed the stack of newspapers onto the table, eyes red. This is all fabricated. Every piece of our wood is FSC certified. Her assistant handed her another file, voice trembling, but they circulated fake contract images online. Many people believe they're real. Anna felt her knees go weak. The team looked worried. Some younger employees began to falter. If clients believe Harper & Company, we could lose all our contracts. Christopher stepped into the conference room. His eyes were sharp, a stark contrast to the usual gentleness he showed Anna. This is corporate warfare. Harper & Company wants to destroy us, not just through personal rumors, but by undermining the ethical foundation Anna has built. He placed a thick file on the table. We will fight back. I've had our legal team gather all evidence and hired an independent investigation company to trace the source of the fake information. They will be exposed soon. Anna looked at him, a mix of gratitude and worry. But if clients cancel contracts during this time, we'll lose credibility. Christopher turned to her, took her hand, his voice firm. Anna, credibility doesn't come from rumors. It comes from the truth. Let me handle Harper. You focus on creating value. That's how everything will be proven. That night, Anna couldn't sleep. She sat by the window of her apartment, staring at the lights of New York below. Her mind swirled with emotions, fear, pressure, but also a new fire, a belief that she was no longer alone. The door opened. Christopher stepped in, still in his dress shirt, after a long day of meetings with lawyers. He looked at her eyes, softening. You haven't slept. Anna shook her head, offering a tired smile. I've been thinking, if one day Reed Designs disappears, what will I have left? Christopher came over, sat beside her, voice deep and warm. You'll still have yourself, Anna. And he hesitated for a moment, then said clearly, "You'll have me." Anna looked up, heart racing. In his sincere gaze, she felt a confession that needed no flourish. They sat in silence for a while. Then Anna leaned her head against his shoulder. Christopher wrapped his arms around her, this time without restraint. Outside, the corporate battle raged on. But in that moment, they both knew they had found their only refuge in each other. For 3 days straight, the media continued to dig into the allegations that Reed Designs had used illegal wood. Some clients temporarily paused negotiations, and on social media, the hashtag #ReedScandal was trending everywhere. But amidst the storm, Anna remained tirelessly at the workshop. She and her craftsmen reviewed every contract, every certification, every seal. Her hands were calloused, but her eyes burned with determination. If they want to accuse us of fraud, we'll show the world the truth. Meanwhile, Christopher worked relentlessly. He made nonstop calls to lawyers, media experts, and the independent investigation company. Night after night, the lights in the Langley group office burned late into the night. One late evening, the lead investigator brought the results. We traced the source of the fake report. It was disseminated through an intermediary company hired by Harper & Company, hidden behind 3 layers of cover. But we now have proof of financial transactions directly linked to Harper. Christopher nodded, a rare cold smile tugging at his lips. Finally, it's time to unmask them. The next day, Christopher and Anna held a large-scale press conference, this time at the Langley Group auditorium. The tension was palpable. Reporters jostled for position, all eager to hear what they would say. Anna stepped up to the microphone, her voice clear. In recent days, Reed Designs has been falsely accused of using illegal materials. Today, we present all documentation and certifications from international organizations. Every piece of wood, every meter of fabric we use has a transparent, verifiable origin. On the screen, behind her, original documents and contracts stamped with red seals were displayed. The room buzzed with excitement. Christopher stepped forward to continue, his voice firm. Furthermore, we have evidence showing that all the accusations were a fabricated scheme. Here are documents proving that Harper & Company paid the intermediary to create the fake report. He presented transaction records, signatures, and even leaked call recordings. The room seemed to erupt. A reporter stood up. "Mr. Langley, do you intend to sue Harper & Company?" Christopher looked straight into the camera, his gray-blue eyes blazing. "Not only will we sue, we will pursue this to the end. Anyone who dares to damage another person's reputation will be held accountable. This isn't just a fight for Reed Designs. It's a fight for fairness in business." Anna looked at him, a surge of pride and emotion rising within her. After the press conference, social media sentiment flipped. The hashtag Justice for Anna spread like wildfire. Thousands of people sent messages of support, praising her courage and Christopher's decisiveness. In the workshop, the craftsmen cheered and hugged each other. A young employee broke into tears. "We've won. We've really won." Anna smiled, tears streaming down her face. In that moment, she felt as if a mountain of weight had lifted from her shoulders. As night fell on the upper floor of her penthouse, Anna stood by the balcony, gazing at the city lights sparkling below. Christopher approached, handing her a glass of wine. "You saved me once again," Anna whispered. He shook his head slightly, eyes warm. "No, Anna. You saved yourself with your determination. I was just here by your side." Their eyes met. In that sweet silence, Anna realized their feelings for each other no longer needed to be hidden. This time, she didn't hold back. She gently set her glass down, stepped closer to him, and whispered, "Christopher, thank you for being here." He said nothing. He only leaned in softly, and the distance between them finally disappeared. News of the evidence against Harper & Co. spread at lightning speed. Media outlets reported in unison. Harper & Co. implicated in fabricating documents to sabotage rivals. Investigators intervene. Reed Designs, vindicated Harper & Co.'s stock, plummeted. The board was forced into an emergency meeting while partners withdrew their support one by one. An empire, once thought untouchable, now trembled at its foundation. Anna read the news, a weight lifting from her heart. After days of being crushed, the truth had finally prevailed. Meanwhile, Reed Designs once again drew global attention. International collaboration, offers returned, and many renowned brands expressed interest. But Anna did not rush. She told her team, "We will choose carefully. We will not sacrifice the soul of Reed Designs for fame or money." Her words fell into a heavy silence. In the meeting room, then erupted into applause. That evening, Anna was invited to a charity gala where Christopher was the main sponsor. She wore a simple yet elegant emerald green gown, reflecting the color of her eyes. Descending the grand staircase of the ballroom, she saw Christopher waiting. He wore a black tuxedo, tall and imposing, his eyes sparkling under the crystal lights. As Anna approached, he extended his hand. "You look stunning." She blushed and gently placed her hand in his. "So do you. Today, perhaps we are no longer the subject of suspicion." Christopher smiled softly. "True, but no matter what, I no longer want to hide anything." In the hall, soft music filled the air. Christopher led Anna onto the dance floor. Curious eyes watched them, but now it was admiration, not mockery. Leaning against his shoulder, Anna whispered, "You know, if it weren't for the storms we went through, I might never have had the courage to be here with you like this." Christopher pressed his hand lightly to her waist, his voice warm and deep. "Then I must thank those storms for bringing you closer to me." She looked up, meeting his deep gray-blue eyes, and in that moment, all the noise around them faded. Only the two of them remained moving together to the rhythm of the music, as if the world existed just for them. After the gala, Christopher walked Anna home. Standing at her apartment door, he hesitated, then spoke softly. "Anna, we've faced so many challenges. I don't want to hide anything from you anymore. I want you to know I love you." Anna froze. Tears fell not from sorrow, but from overwhelming happiness. She smiled through her tears. "I love you too, Christopher." Under the soft glow of the night, they shared their first kiss, not impulsive, but a culmination of trust, trials, and shared dreams. The next morning, as the first light of dawn streamed through the window, Anna awoke with a renewed sense of faith. No matter how turbulent the business world remained, she and Christopher would face it together, not just as partners, but as two hearts beating in unison. After the resounding victory over Harper & Co., Reed Designs quickly became a name featured in numerous international business and fashion magazines. Major brands in Paris, Milan, Tokyo, and New York all sent collaboration offers. Anna sat in the sunlit meeting room, a stack of contracts laid out before her. Her team buzzed with excitement. "If we sign with Maison Delacroix in Paris, our brand will appear at the most prestigious fashion week. This Japanese conglomerate has a global distribution network. Our sales could increase tenfold. Anna listened and took notes, yet a sense of unease stirred within her. That afternoon, she met Christopher in his office. He had just finished a call with the investment board, his eyes still tense. Reed Designs is standing before opportunities that many companies dream of, he said, pouring her a cup of tea. But I see you haven't decided yet. Anna held the tea thoughtful. I fear that chasing too many contracts might make us lose our original purity. Reed Designs was created not just to sell clothes, but to tell a story of trust, perseverance, and sincerity. If we expand too fast, will we still keep that soul? Christopher was silent for a moment, then offered a faint smile. That's exactly what makes me love you. You always put values above profit. But Anna, remember, this expansion doesn't mean loss if we do it the right way. You can choose partners who share our values. You have the right to set conditions, not just accept whatever comes. His words brought her an unexpected sense of relief. The next day, Anna called a full team meeting. She looked at each face that had stood by her through the tough days, then spoke with resolve. We will expand, but not at any cost. Reed Designs will only collaborate with partners who respect our ideas and values. We will not sell our soul for glamour. From now on, every contract must answer two questions. Does it preserve our identity? And does it create value for people? The room erupted in applause. Many were moved to tears, realizing that Anna was not just a founder, but a leader who knew how to protect the flame of their vision. That evening, Anna and Christopher strolled along the Thames. City lights reflected on the sparkling water. Anna softly said, I used to think I had to choose either preserve our values or expand. But now I understand. Perhaps we can balance both. Christopher squeezed her hand, his voice warm and deep. Yes, and you don't have to do it alone. I'll always be here helping you protect the soul of Reed Designs, just as we protect our love. Anna looked up at him, trust shining in her eyes. She knew the road ahead was long, but together they were ready to walk it hand in hand, not just as lovers, but as kindred spirits, united in purpose. Early autumn in Paris. The sky was clear and the breeze gentle. The magnificent city seemed to drape itself in a radiant cloak, ready to welcome Fashion Week, the event the world eagerly awaited. Anna stood backstage, her heart racing. She looked at the carefully arranged collections, each stitch, every embroidered detail, the culmination of countless sleepless nights. These were more than just dresses. They were stories of resilience, belief, and aspiration that she had poured into her work. Outside, the front row seats were filled with powerful figures in the fashion world. Editors from Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, discerning critics, and a host of celebrities and renowned entrepreneurs. Christopher approached, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. He whispered, I know you're nervous, but remember, you don't need to prove anything to the world. Just be yourself. Anna smiled, her eyes lighting up. You're right. This isn't about impressing anyone. It's about telling Reed Design's story. As the runway lights came on and music filled the space, the audience seemed to hold its breath. The first model walked out wearing a pure white dress, light and airy like a gentle breeze. Following her, designs shifted from muted dark tones to vibrant, radiant hues, symbolizing a journey from darkness into light. The audience was captivated. Each piece was not only visually stunning, but also whispered a message: have courage, and believe in yourself. Anna stood behind the curtains, tears welling in her eyes. Memories flooded back the collapse of her previous company, countless nights, sketching alone, the first meeting with Christopher. All of it had transformed into reality on this dazzling runway. In the final moment, the music softened. All the models stepped forward, forming a line. Applause thundered through the hall. The host announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anna Reed, the heart of Reed Designs." Anna stepped forward. Light shone directly on her, hundreds of eyes fixed on her. In that instant, her fears vanished. She bowed, her smile radiant. The audience rose to their feet, clapping incessantly. Even some of the most respected critics nodded in approval, taking notes fervently. Christopher, seated in the front row, looked at her with pride. When their eyes met, Anna realized this was not only a triumph for her career, but also a victory for faith, perseverance, and love. After the show, international collaboration offers poured in. Yet, Anna felt calmer than ever. She knew she didn't have to chase them all. What mattered most was that Reed Designs had affirmed its place through its own unique identity. In their high-rise hotel room overlooking glamorous Paris, Anna stood by the window, leaning against Christopher. She whispered, "Today, I feel like I've stepped into a new chapter of my life." Christopher smiled, wrapping his arms around her tighter. "And I'll be with you through every chapter to come." After Paris Fashion Week, Reed Designs became the focus of international media. Articles praised Anna Reed, not only as a talented designer, but also as a symbol of renewed perseverance in the fashion world. Yet, amid the glory, Anna maintained a simple lifestyle. She spent much of her time with her team sketching new designs, and sometimes escaping to a small cafe on a quiet street to find inspiration. Christopher knew it was this very simplicity that set her apart. One evening, Christopher invited Anna to dinner at a small riverside restaurant along the Seine. Nothing extravagant, nothing noisy, just candlelight wine and the sparkling Parisian view under the moon. Anna was surprised to see a table set just for the two of them. On it lay a bouquet of white tulips, the flowers she had once said were her favorite as a child. She smiled softly. "You remembered this." Christopher looked at her, his gaze serious yet warm. "I remember everything, Anna, every little detail about you." Throughout the dinner, they talked endlessly about work, the future, and even simple dreams. But when dessert was served, Christopher grew suddenly quiet. He stood, stepped toward her, and to Anna's astonishment, knelt on one knee. In his hands was a small velvet box. As he opened it, the light caught a simple, yet elegant, diamond ring. "Anna Reed," he spoke in a warm, low voice, though a rare tremor hinted at his emotion. "I have achieved much in life, but nothing has been more meaningful than meeting you. You've taught me that true value doesn't lie in power or wealth, but in loving and being loved wholeheartedly. I don't want to be just a partner in work. I want to be your partner in life. Will you marry me?" Anna froze. Her heart raced, tears welled up. Everything they had endured, the first meeting, the storms, the sleepless nights of uncertainty, culminated in this moment. She raised a hand to cover her mouth, then nodded, her voice choked with emotion. "Yes, Christopher, I will." The small restaurant erupted in applause from a few witnessing staff. Christopher stood gently, slid the ring onto her finger, and drew her into a tight embrace. Their kiss, beneath the Paris moonlight, was no longer just a declaration of love. It was a pledge to a complete future together. That night, as they walked hand in hand along the river, Anna held him tightly. She knew challenges lay ahead, but now they were not just two kindred souls. They had become a lifelong promise. News of Christopher Langley, the famous billionaire, proposing to Anna Reid quickly spread across all the major media outlets. Congratulations poured in, but alongside them came curiosity and even skepticism. Is that young woman really fit for high society? Is this a fairy tale or just a publicity stunt? Anna read the comments and sometimes felt a pang in her heart. Yet every time she looked at the ring on her finger, she smiled. She knew their love didn't need validation from the world's gossip. Preparing the wedding quickly became a major project. Christopher wanted to give Anna a wedding worthy of her, not for extravagance, but because he wanted that day to be the most beautiful memory of their lives. Anna, however, wished for a simple, intimate ceremony, a place where family and close friends could share in their happiness. One evening in the living room, they sat together, reviewing the event plan presented by the organizers. Christopher frowned as he scanned the guest list. Hundreds of names. Long, I think many key business partners will expect to be invited. This could be an opportunity to network. Anna gently placed her hand on the list, her eyes resolute. Christopher, this is our day, not a business negotiation. I just want the people who truly matter to us to be there. They were silent for a moment. Finally, Christopher smiled and took her hand. You're right. That day should be ours. We'll follow your wishes, simple yet meaningful. But the challenges didn't stop at wedding preparations. Anna's workload grew as Reid Designs continued to receive international invitations. Her busy schedule left her exhausted. One late night, Christopher entered her studio and found Anna still sitting over her sketches. Under the warm light, her eyes were rimmed with fatigue, and her hands trembled slightly from exhaustion. He walked over, set down his pen, and spoke with a serious yet loving tone. Anna, you can't keep pushing yourself like this. Let work take a temporary back seat. You're about to enter a new chapter, becoming a wife, and maybe a mother. You need to take care of yourself. Anna looked up, eyes glistening with tears. I'm afraid that if I stop, Reid Designs will lose opportunities. Christopher held her close, whispering, Reid Designs exists because of you, not the other way around. Don't forget, you don't have to fight alone anymore. His words brought Anna to tears, but these were tears of relief. In the following days, they simplified the plans. A ceremony in a garden by the Mediterranean Sea, attended only by family friends, and those who had truly been with them through the hardships. Each evening after work, Anna and Christopher sat together, choosing the music, the flowers, and the invitations. In every detail, they felt one truth clearly. This was not just a wedding. It was the beginning of a new life where love and career intertwined seamlessly. As the wedding day approached, the pressure grew, but rather than divide them, it brought Anna and Christopher closer. They learned to listen, compromise, and make every decision together. On a quiet night before the wedding, Anna rested her head on Christopher's shoulder and whispered, I used to think love and career would pull me in different directions, but now I understand. It is this love that makes me stronger, helping me protect my career. Christopher kissed her hair lightly and replied, and it is your career that strengthens this love. Because I love you, not just as Anna the woman I chose, but as Anna the woman who dares to live fully for her dreams. Outside, The waves lapped gently against the shore. A dream of a perfect day was steadily approaching. The Mediterranean Sea sparkled under the morning sun, waves gently lapping against the soft, white sand. The seaside garden was adorned with white and pink tulips, the flowers Anna had loved since childhood. Golden sunlight filtered through the trees, creating a scene both romantic and pure. The guest list was small, limited to family, close friends, and a few colleagues who had stood by them through their struggles. There was no extravagant display, only warmth, intimacy, and genuine love. Anna appeared in the wedding dress she had designed herself, elegant and flowing, with soft lines and refined simplicity. The dress seemed to tell a story, no need for elaborate decoration. Sincerity alone was enough to shine. As she walked along the path, strewn with petals, Christopher stood waiting at the end, his heart pounding, just as it had the first time they met. In his pristine white suit, he looked both dashing and tender. Their eyes met, and it felt as if the world had fallen silent. Only the two of them remained hand in hand, stepping toward the most sacred moment of their lives. The officiant smiled at them and spoke. "Christopher Langley, do you vow to love, honor, and stand by Anna Reed through all life's joys and challenges? Until the end of your days?" Christopher looked deeply into Anna's eyes, his voice steady yet warm. "I do." Then he turned to Anna. "Anna Reed, do you vow to love, cherish, and stand by Christopher Langley through all life's joys and challenges? Until the end of your days?" Tears welled in Anna's eyes as she nodded, her voice trembling. "I do." Music swelled as they exchanged rings. The rings glittered in the sunlight, a symbol of their unbreakable vow. Christopher took Anna's hand and leaned down to whisper, "From now on, you will never have to fight alone again." Anna smiled through her tears. "And from now on, I have a place to come home to. My home is you." They shared a sweet kiss as applause erupted around them. Even the waves seemed to join, lapping in gentle rhythm, witnessing the love that had just been sealed. The reception that followed was simple yet warm. Friends raised their glasses, family radiated joy, and laughter filled the air. Anna and Christopher danced together as the sun set to the sound of soft music and the breezy sea air. Wrapped in Christopher's arms, Anna felt a peace she had never known. All the storms, all the doubts, had led her to this very moment, the moment she knew for certain this was her family. That night, fireworks lit up the Mediterranean sky, illuminating two figures, holding each other's hands tightly. The wedding was not extravagant or ostentatious, yet it was filled with warmth and sincerity, just like the love Anna and Christopher had nurtured throughout their challenging journey. In the time that followed, Reed Designs continued to grow, gradually conquering major fashion stages around the world. Yet, wherever she went, Anna preserved what mattered most, the identity and soul of her brand. She always remembered that success only held meaning when it reflected the truth in one's heart. Christopher remained her quiet companion, both a support and a steady arm, allowing Anna to soar. He never sought to overshadow her, instead, choosing to stand beside her, shining together in their own way. They were not only husband and wife, but also confidants, allies, living proof that love can transform every hardship into motivation. Once in an interview, someone asked Anna, "If you could send a message to young people struggling through difficulties, what would it be?" Anna smiled, her blue eyes shining with conviction. Be brave enough to believe in yourself, and don't be afraid to accept help from others. Sometimes it's the hands offered when we feel weakest that open the way to the most meaningful connections in life. And so when the stage lights dimmed, when the fireworks faded, only two ordinary people remained: a billionaire and a young woman who had overcome adversity, still holding hands, walking together on the journey called happiness. Because love in the end is not an ending. It is the beginning of a lifelong journey.